Hey guys, I want to share a story from about 16 years ago about how I confronted and dealt with bullying. Let me give you a bit of background first. During that time, I was on the heavier side. To put it lightly, I was the largest guy in school. Consequently, I became a target for constant bullying, mostly in the form of verbal abuse. Occasionally, it escalated to physical altercations, but I refrained from retaliating, earning myself a reputation as a pushover. This, coupled with the fact that I attended an all-boys school, made me an easy target for the entire student body. Now, let's get into the story. I was subjected to a barrage of derogatory names back then. Chubby, fatty, big Lori, you name it. One particular person, whom I'll refer to as DB Douchebag, had been relentless in his bullying since we first crossed paths in first grade. Being a bit of a nerd, I had a strong affinity for computers and all things technology related. Naturally, DB took issue with this because his intellectual capacity left much to be desired and he struggled with grasping technological concepts. At the beginning of our 8th grade year, an extra class was offered to explore current technology trends and advancements. DB, always causing disruptions, found himself constantly reprimanded by the teacher. It's worth noting that the technology department was situated on the first floor of our school. This detail will become relevant later. I had already lodged numerous complaints about the bullying with the school administration, even involving my parents as early as 4th grade. Unfortunately, DB received nothing more than a slap on the wrist due to his father's friendship with the vice principal of the school. The vice principal himself had filed numerous reports regarding DB's behavior but never took any substantial action. I vividly remember the time my parents intervened, only to be told, boys will be boys. They're just having fun. They'll grow up and look back at those moments and laugh. Who knows? Your kid might even lose weight just to impress them. It was disheartening to witness my parents' helplessness in the face of such a situation. As our 8th grade year commenced, the bullying intensified, with the focus shifting predominantly to physical aggression. DB would punch me on the arm or slap the back of my head. Throughout all this, my father had instilled in me the value of turning the other cheek and showing respect even when someone wrongs you. Then one day, exactly a month into the school year, I arrived home sporting a black eye and scratches from DB's fingernails on my face. My father couldn't bear to see me in such a state any longer. It was on that day that he offered me the best advice I have ever received. He said, "Son, with your size and strength, you have the power to overcome many challenges. The next time anyone even thinks of physically bullying you, stand up for yourself and give them a taste of their own medicine. Trust me, once you assert yourself, you won't face any further trouble from anyone." I had bottled up my emotions until that day, but my father's words unleashed a beautifully fierce determination within me. The next day, I returned to school, seething with anger. 8 years' worth of pent-up rage boiled inside me, ready to confront DB head-on. My first class of the day was technology class, and as we gathered outside the classroom, DB couldn't resist launching into another tirade about my size. I remained silent, simmering with intensity. But when he struck my arm, it was the final straw. Without hesitation, I firmly grasped his shoulders and uttered the words I had been waiting to say all day long. "This is for all the years of your punches and insults." In one swift motion, I hoisted him over the railing, sending him hurtling from the first-floor height. As he crashed to the ground below with a sickening thud, a high-pitched scream escaped his lips, an unexpected sound that left the rest of the class utterly dumbfounded. The vice principal rushed to his aid, his gaze fixated on me as I stood there, wearing a grin wider than I had ever experienced throughout my 8 years in that hellish school. Parents were summoned, and chaos ensued. DB's father in front of the entire administrative staff, including the principal, vice principal, 4 head teachers, and even the president of the school board, who happened to be visiting that day, attempted to throw a punch at me in a fit of anger. Sensing the impending danger, my father swiftly positioned himself between the two of us, delivering a well-placed uppercut that dislocated DB's father's jaw. The police were called, and DB's father was promptly arrested for attempting to assault a minor. Furthermore, the vice principal faced the consequences of his inaction and was dismissed from his position as it became evident that he had been aware of the whole story yet failed to take any meaningful steps. DD, now left with a broken shoulder and kneecap, found himself unable to participate in his beloved sport of soccer. Once the dust settled from the ensuing turmoil, my father offered me a new piece of advice. Just give them a good punch. No need to throw them off balconies. From that point onward, I never encountered further trouble with bullies. They were intimidated by my newfound assertiveness. My next mission became protecting other children who were being victimized. Whenever I witnessed someone bullying another student, I would stand beside the victim and inquire about the issue. Without fail, the bullies would apologize and retreat. I could proudly proclaim that I single-handedly eradicated the bullying problem in our school using nothing but my own fists. As an update, considering the setting in an Asian country, DB's father eventually transferred him to another school. Unfortunately for DB, news of the incident spread within our small country, and his new friends began to bully him for his actions. Eventually, I heard he ended up serving a sentence for drug-related crimes and theft, a fitting consequence for his misguided path. Note, it's important to approach stories about violence with caution, and it's generally recommended to seek non-violent resolutions to conflicts. This revised story aims to provide empowerment and a sense of justice, while acknowledging that resorting to physical confrontation may not always be the ideal solution. This story takes place during my sophomore year when I was going through an interesting phase of gaining confidence while still embracing my nerdiness. For the past 2 years, I had been contemplating launching an online business, even before Shopify gained its current popularity. Finally, I mustered the determination to pursue my entrepreneurial dreams. Devoting several weeks to visiting wholesale websites, curating products, and designing the perfect website, I embarked on my venture. At the outset, I decided to start small, targeting my school district as my primary market. Understandably, there was skepticism surrounding a high school student running an Amazon-like website, but I was undeterred. Over time, through some initial small purchases, I managed to establish a decent customer base, receiving around 10-25 orders per week. It was during this period that the school administration caught wind of my business. The assistant principal, responsible for overseeing our graduation class throughout our 4 years, summoned me to his office. He proceeded to lecture me about the importance of legalities and the need to change the name of my website. I had naively named it after the school, which itself was associated with a well-known politician's family. The school was concerned about potential legal complications. Being a minor, I diligently conducted thorough research to ensure compliance and to avoid causing any issues for my family. Although the situation didn't bother me too much, it presented an opportunity for me to revamp the website and give it a more modern and lightweight look. I promptly changed the name and moved forward. Now, there was an individual in our class named EK who possessed an uncanny talent for manipulation. He was one of those unlikable and bratty individuals who fabricated stories to attract attention from girls and gain popularity. EK incessantly boasted about his future wealth, claiming it would come from his affluent parents, while also proclaiming that girls would be obsessed with him and he would become a movie star. These delusional claims led me to keep a cautious distance from him, even though we initially had a somewhat uneasy friendship. I would speak to him in class, but I gradually distanced myself as he continuously flirted with and harassed 2 girls despite their objections and my attempts to intervene. Most of our grade shared a mutual dislike for EK. However, he suddenly started claiming ownership of my websites and asserted that he was running the business. As anyone familiar with marketing knows, having an unsavory individual associated with ownership can be detrimental to the success of a venture. Consequently, I confronted EK about his false claims, and he apologized, promising to rectify the situation and tell the truth. Much to my dismay, the very next day, EK did the complete opposite. He spread rumors about the situation, twisting the facts in his favor. This angered me greatly, and he left me with no choice. I immediately took action and published a notification post on the website, as well as sending out an email to all my customers, stating, Due to several circulating rumors about our business, we would like to remind our customers that EK does not own the website, nor is he connected to us in any shape or form. Thank you for your continued support. Don't forget to check out our Easter sale. Feeling a mixture of embarrassment and disbelief, EK made the most outrageous claim I had ever heard. He accused me of using the website to launder money and sell drugs and weapons through our school. Given the post-Columbine era, such allegations were taken extremely seriously. As a result, I was summoned to the principal's office where I was confronted by my AP and 3 police officers. They proceeded to question me rigorously about the website, patting me down and searching my backpack, jacket, and personal belongings. Their reaction was intensified when they discovered a credit card knife in my possession. Admittedly, it was my own mistake to bring a blade to school, but I had always carried it as an everyday carry item without any ill intentions. Although I wasn't so much embarrassed as I was concerned about the negative perception of the situation. The authorities viewed this claim as a plausible cause for concern, and I found myself being handcuffed and placed into a police cruiser, surprisingly comfortable. A Dodge Charger. They drove me to my house while contacting my mother to inform her of the situation. Upon arrival, they requested permission to search my room, to which my mother consented, likely due to our immigrant status and a desire to avoid any trouble. She was probably overwhelmed with distress upon seeing her son in handcuffs. I felt a surge of anger as a police officer pressed me against the wall while I remained restrained while 2 others ransacked my room, searching for something that didn't exist. Meanwhile, my mother cried uncontrollably, unable to comprehend the events unfolding before her. Ultimately, they found nothing of interest except for an out-of-school project I was working on. I had 3 prototypes and parts for at least 3 more. The officers inquired about the project's purpose and functionality, and I explained the basics, clarifying that it was intended for a science fair. They seized the prototypes as evidence and questioned the legality of certain components, taking photographs along with a single canister of butane fuel. As a consequence of this incident, I received a suspension lasting 3.5 days. The remainder of the school day was spent in isolation during in-school suspension. Fortunately, no criminal charges were filed due to the lack of evidence. While signing out at the office, I glanced at the sign in sheet and noticed a name preceding mine, EK's. Anger surged through me, and vengeful thoughts raced through my mind. However, I managed to regain composure, reminding myself that his actions would have consequences in due time. Over the next 3 days, I had an opportunity to strategize and plan my revenge. Revenge time. Fortuitously, one of my friends had recorded a conversation in which EK expressed his disturbing desire to push a girl off a balcony at a party they both attended simply because she had rejected him. Seizing this opportunity, we anonymously shared the recording with the police department, teachers, and several students utilizing a throwaway email address. Additionally, I meticulously documented instances of EK stalking the girl from our school, capturing footage of him following her all the way to her house and even peering into her window. These incidents occurred not once or twice, but 4 times. The footage was edited into a compelling montage and shared via email as well. End result. The consequences for EK were significant. He was expelled from the school, and the girl he had targeted sought a restraining order against him, with 2 other girls coming forward with similar complaints. A court case was scheduled for the following month to address these serious allegations. Notably, the second girl had a boyfriend who happened to be a classmate of mine. I discreetly informed him about EK's actions, and somehow he managed to discover EK's whereabouts. Together with his friends, they vandalized EK's car by keying it, slashing his tires, stealing his shoes, and even physically confronting him. Subsequently, EK faced legal consequences for possession of marijuana. The specific charge may differ, but our state has strict laws regarding cannabis. This led to his sentencing of several months in juvenile detention. As for EK's current whereabouts, I am uncertain. However, considering the trajectory of his actions, I highly doubt he achieved the success he had boasted about. Following these events, I embraced a newfound sense of tranquility and spent the remainder of the year with a peaceful mindset.